with ginger and black pepper and cayenne pepper to help break down fat after a large meal, to help feel full and to help you lose weight, and decrease platelet aggregation to improve your heart health. So I've got some studies here, some information about how this actually works. Platelet aggregation, well, blood platelets can build up and aggregate and cause stroke. I'm going to read this excerpt from the Internet Stroke Center. Platelet aggregation and thrombosis after type 2 injury are thought to play key roles in the progression of atherosclerosis, that is, buildup of plaque on the arteries. Platelet adhesion may be promoted by toxic products released by macrophages and by moderate damage to the intimal surface with denudation to the epithelium. Okay, the epithelium is the lining. That's the lining here, the blood vessel. Platelets release growth factors that stimulate migration and proliferation of smooth muscle cells. Okay, so that means the smooth muscle cells are inside your blood vessels. And also contribute to the formation of subendothelial fibrointimal lesions, and possibly to the formation of outside capsule, predominantly fatty lesions. So this is bad stuff. You don't want fatty lesions. You don't want atherosclerosis. You don't want to build up super thick blood vessels. And I'm going to explain how number one, this tea is going to reduce your fat levels, and number two, how it's going to prevent platelet aggregation. Okay, so here we have just an in vitro study. They wanted to see about these Vanilloid-like agents. Vanilloid-like agents inhibit aggregation of human platelets. So, Vanilloid-like agents, these are vanilloid receptor agonists. And there are vanilloid receptor agonists in many different foods, including the chili peppers, and also including actually ginger. And what they concluded is that these endovanilloids help to inhibit the platelet aggregation. So there you have it. The capsaicin will help inhibit platelet aggregation. Here's a study that says ginger consumption enhances the thermic effect of food and promotes feelings of satiety without affecting metabolic and hormonal parameters in overweight men. Great. So thermic effect. So that's going to have some make you to feel full and also to heat you up a little bit. The capsaicin will have the same effect. And they begin to start talking about how evidence suggests that ginger consumption has anti-inflammatory, antihypertensive, glucose sensitizing, and stimulatory effects on the gastrointestinal tract. And they go on to conclude that it was effective in making you feel full, essentially, and heating you up, which will help to burn fat. Third study, capsinoids and related food ingredients activating brown fat thermogenesis and reducing body fat in humans. That means that it's warming you up and helping you to burn brown fat. Well, that's great. And I notice when you take the capsaicin that it will definitely warm you up. You don't want to take too much of it on an empty stomach, but if you take it after a large meal, that's the best time to take it. It'll help definitely warm you up and burn that fat. There's yet another study that found that capsaicin helps to break down the brown adipose tissue. Effects of capsaicin and isothiocyanate on thermogenesis of interscapular brown adipose tissue in rats. And this is just yet another study that found that in rats, that capsaicin helped to break down the brown adipose tissue, breaks down the brown fat. It's thermogenic. And it's just different. It's in rats. And so there's a difference in rats is that they don't have the gallbladder. And one of the reasons it's, I guess, good to actually test in rats compared to humans is to see if the capsaicin is having effect on the bile production, or if maybe it's something else related to the vanilloid receptor agonists that are in it, the capsaicinoids. Here's another study, antioxidant effect of black pepper and piperine in rats with high-fat diet-induced oxidative stress. This data indicate that the supplementation with black pepper, or the active principle in black pepper, piperine, can reduce high-fat diet-induced oxidative stress to the cells. Okay, so there you go. After a big high-fat meal, you have the black pepper. Now onto the pu'er. Pu'er green tea and black tea suppresses hyperlipidemia, hyperleptinemia, that is the production of too much leptin, and fatty acid synthase through activating AMPK in rats fed a high fructose diet. Okay, another one way to give it. High fructose diet, too much sugar. Now the too much sugar is going to cause lipid problems. It's going to increase the VLDLs, the apolipoproteins, the bad stuff, the bad baddies, the VLDLs, the very low density lipoproteins. And what they found is these findings suggest that the intake of green, black, and pu'er tea leaves ameliorated the fructose-induced hyperlipidemia and hyperleptinemia state in part through the suppression of fatty acid synthase protein levels and increased AMPK phosphorylation. So this is good stuff too. But there's more to pu'er. The effects of pu'er tea on body fat and lipid profiles in rats with diet-induced obesity. Concluded that these results suggest that the pu'er tea attenuated visceral fat accumulation and improved hyperlipidemia in a rat model of high-fat diet-induced obesity. Okay, so they had basically, this is a controlled study. They gave two different groups, and one of them they gave the pu'er tea, and one of them they didn't. Pu'er, they lost total body weight, and they lost the right kind of weight, various adipose pads. And statins are drugs that the pharmaceutical and medical industry likes to prescribe. So here, lovastatin. And this is to help affect your lipid profile, or apolipoproteins, the LDL, triglycerides, and then raise the good cholesterol levels. These occur actually naturally in the pu'er through the fermentation process when they make this cake and then they let it sit. And this pu'er cake that I have here is about 10 years old. And so here is the beverage that is finished right here, and it's really, really tasty. And it's ready to drink. And finally, the last thing is about the capsaicin. The way to do this is not to put it in the tea, because it's going to taste really bad. Just basically put it in the cap. And put the lid on it. This last thing is CoQ10. The ubiquinol helps to increase your cardiovascular output and stimulate the mitochondria. And if you take this, it's going to be good for your cardiovascular health and give you more endurance and help your heart health. as part of this whole program. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope this inspires you, and I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you'll go and do more research on your own to study the effects of all these different food substances that are hidden medicine that the pharmaceutical industries don't want you to know about, that the FDA prevents from being labeled on the foods themselves. It's illegal to make medical claims about food substances, so you can't sell food with labels that have any honest claims about them, like it's good for your heart, unless it's approved by the American Heart Association, which is tied in with the American Beverage Association, which is basically Coca-Cola, and it's just more of the same government and corporations. Stay healthy, guys.